is something that's annual that the club get involved in. The game against Burnley was actually the nominated game, and so that's why there's lots of sort of rainbow flashes and all sorts of things that happened on the LED boards during the game. And just before the game on the Thursday night, we did a kind of little thing with the club where they lit the whole stadium up rainbow coloured. So if you saw the images of the stadium at night, it was like a revolving rainbow effect that they managed to program. It was brilliant, and I think for them and for Proud Lilywhites and for us, it was just a really kind of iconic moment. And so for it to all culminate in a fantastic game of football with a fantastic goal for somebody who is an icon for becoming an icon for this club, was probably one of the best kind of wrapped experiences I think that we've seen. So I'm kind of that for me is kind of sort of one of the kind of would be the highlight of the season, I think, for me, because everything else, as we've talked about, has been a bit dodgy and a bit bleak. But actually, at least we can come look at that and say, yeah, we did something really nice and really worthwhile. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm sorry, it doesn't beat your story, Jamie, but that's where I'm at.
mine's not a very interesting story, I'm afraid. So
it's been embellished quite a lot. Stace.
Obviously, the sunny goal at Burnley. I enjoyed the 3-2 win at West Ham when
I love that. Yeah,
Jose come beating the spammers like that was really good, really pleasing. Sonny, Lucas, and Harry Kane, and then they come back into it obviously and scored in the last minute. But yeah, that was my favourite game, probably beating that.
Yeah, were you there, Stace?
No, I was. I went to see. I was in the West Ham end when Gareth Bale scored his screamer, and I got dragged out by my West Ham mates because it was the first time I didn't actually get to see us celebrate, all the Tottenham fans. I was gutted. They just dragged me out because obviously they were crazy. The West Ham crazy when they scored. Absolutely.
You should have been a bit more, circumspect to be like,
It's because it's their cup final. I really love beating West Ham. I don't know what it is. I love us beating West Ham.
Absolutely.
They've been vile to us. They were vile to us. They're vile.
I agree. As one of the, I think, the old White Hart Lane, the only time I've ever felt nervous was, I think, when we played them. It was an evening game. I think we were playing on a whatever, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night. I can't remember now. It was a league game, and because obviously it was dark. I think it was a winter month, and kind of the whole of Tottenham High Road, because it was dark and there's loads of police and there's kettled West Ham fans and this and that and the other, is actually one of the most intimidating environments I think I've been in around. And you don't get that, even with Arsenal, it's just like, they're all chit chat and rubbish, but West Ham, I think they kind of, there's something in their heads. They kind of would take it to that extra moment if they felt they had the chance.
Loads of fighting I've seen with West Ham on the high road and outside the ground. I've seen loads of fighting. Exactly. And Charlie, as my son, he's been with me seeing it. So
silly.
I'm just conscious of time, lads. So we spoke about most memorable moments. Has there been any moments of real disappointment for you this year, rather than, obviously we spoke about the season being overall disappointing, but any things that really thought that stuck out as a real disappointing moment or disappointing part of the season? I can see you're all thinking, I thought of that. So whilst you're all pondering, I'll kick off. So
problem is you're asking us to pick one. I've
got so many. To be fair, I've got about 3 or 4, but I'll go with because I'm sure one of you will mention the game, and we've kind of touched on it already. So I won't mention the game, but for me, I think that the big key disappointments for this season have been VAR itself. Well, not VAR itself, because like the actual technology, I don't think
interpretation
I think it's the interpretation of it, and the fact that it just feels, as the season has progressed, and certainly since we've come back, that the contentious decisions pre-lockdown that you could make an argument for, and you kind of found, I certainly was saying, well, we don't know, this could be, it could be interpreted either way, but some of the decisions post lockdown just feel so blatantly bad that it kind of calls into the very existence, I think, of VAR itself. So VAR, I think, has been a real disappointment this year, and obviously the whole Ndombele situation, for whatever reason, I don't know what the reasons are, whether it's him, whether it's attitude, whether it's manager. I have no idea whether it's just an acclimatization thing. Just Ndombele, lack of appearances, but also, how our fans have kind of reacted to him as usual. The way we, everyone, like, if he turns out to stay and then has a fucking stormer next year, they'll all be singing his name. But this year, they're all, like, the majority of them are like slagging him off. He's £60 million player or whatever it is, and therefore he should be instantly hitting the ground running, forgetting what Sonny was like in his first season and all that, and how it took Sonny a year to settle in. And it just I suppose it couples in with our fans. I think our fans and Twitter have been fucking awful this year. It's been just, I rarely use it now. I very, very, very rarely post, and I interact with very few people personally now. I just don't really kind of only interact with people that where I've been commented on, or where I've been mentioned. I don't want to go scroll through people's timelines because it's just negative, so negative and disappointing. Yeah. So that's me. Has that given you gents enough time to come up with something? So Stace, you go on then.
Going away to losing 3-0 away to RB Leipzig.
Okay.
And going all that way, and we were shockingly.
Did you go to the game?
I went. I was in the crowd, and it was a long way to go. The beer was fantastic. The people were really good. They were laughing at us on the way back on the buses, but it's just a long way to go. And I thought we were going to batten down the hatches and go typical Jose and make it difficult for them. And we was more open than I've ever seen us, and it was poor. That was really bad.
It was.
And Jose not winning manager of the month for June. I think that was poor.
Okay. I think he should have won manager of the month for April
and May.
Because he managed to keep us undefeated in that period.
Yeah.
Didn't concede a goal.
He will never win it with us. They don't like Jose, the FA, and they certainly don't like Tottenham. So we're double doomed for next year.
Okay, so
fabulous. This is a really fucking brilliant way to end this podcast.
Hopefully we'll pick it up. But Simon, your disappointments?
Yeah, I think. Yeah, so Ndombele is an interesting one. I think there's, Sessegnon you could throw into that camp. There's there's a few transfer, all the promise, and then none of it's materialised. And I think that I don't know. It's kind of like the maybe it's just a lack of consistency. I've said it before. I know that's not very specific, but for me, that kind of, as a real, that's been that we've struggled with that, and without it, we can't get onto a front foot. And if you don't get onto a front foot, then you start to lose the fans, and then it will start to unravel. So I think we just need to be consistent, build consistency, and that for me would make everyone feel much more confident. Probably doesn't really answer your question, though, Steve. Is it not a specific instance?
That's fine. That's fine. Okay, so we'll see if Andy can be more specific.
He's only going to talk about fish and chips, isn't he?
Well,
Don't take away his punchline, mate.
Sorry, Andy.
That's all right, mate. Yeah. for me, it was that Chelsea game at home. I just found that was just indicative of how bad we were this season. How we just couldn't get out on the pitch and expel any kind of energy. It was almost as if Chelsea were right up for it. We literally were not up for that game, and they just took control, and we fell apart. And I was just so pissed off after that game. In fact, I was pissed off at half time. In that game, I just had it.
Is it? I'm sure it's this season that you've been pissed off at half time a number of times this season.
Oh yeah,
well, I'm sure
it's understandable though, isn't it?
You've been down on the concourse at like record early levels of time, like 30 minutes, 35 minutes. You've been
25 minutes.
Steve, I'm here. Like, Steve, what are you drinking? I'm down here. I'm down here. I'll get you a drink.
I'm on my fifth. Yeah. It was just bad, wasn't it? And we've had a few of those, but that was particularly bad. Very depressing.
Jamie?
Biggest disappointment. I won't obviously touch on football because what's actually happening on the pitch, because that has been a disappointment in certain respects. We've had some decent games, we've had some really poor games, but for me, the biggest disappointment was the atmosphere down in the Paxton. Bearing in mind that, we're down there, we're above the away fans, we're next to the away fans. It's been incredibly poor. But one of the positives of this season was I couldn't actually make the Bayern Munich game. My wife was away with work, so I had to be back home with the kids. But the Bayern Munich home game, when, obviously Park Lane started off with a Park Lane. And on TV, you could hear, we're the Paxton, Tottenham. And it was just so fucking loud. It's never been replicated this season. And,
they were playing that just through the speakers, because in the stand, we weren't singing fuck all.
Oh, all right then. We'll fuck off somewhere else then. if you're not in it for the Paxton, then
I'll tell you when the stadium was the noisiest this year, and that's when Red Star Belgrade were over here. There was only about 200 of them. They took over my seat.
They got the Paxton rocking.
They certainly did.
They certainly did.
God, they were noisy.
Did they throw their fish? Did they throw your fish at you? And you chips?
Throw the
Did
what?
they chuck your fish at you?
Oh, well, they didn't get my fish, mate.
And rubbed it in your face.
My fish is mine.
Andy couldn't get near his fucking seat. They couldn't
they
get
took
near
my
his
seat.
seat.
Yeah,
couldn't get near his fish and chips. He couldn't even get near his seat.
Did you kick off, Andy?
Well, I don't speak Belgrade, so
did they go?
I don't speak Belgrade.
Fuck off, Andy.
So let's not.
I couldn't explain
bollocks accents again.
Situation.
I've been okay.
Week. So, we've discussed our disappointment. So, transfer targets, gents. Any transfer targets specifically for this season?
Callum Wilson
coming season coming up.
Callum Wilson. We got to get Callum Wilson in.
Anyone else? Just them?
Messi, Ronaldo, Maradona, Pele, Jimmy Greaves, and Pat Jennings.
Okay, well, some of them are not achievable. Some of them are doable. I don't think Jimmy Greaves will want to come back, but the rest are probably achievable.
We've signed that young man from Wigan as well.
Oh, we're going after another one from Wigan, aren't we?
Alfie, yeah.
We're after another guy from Wigan, aren't we? Like,
isn't he?
I don't know. 17-year-old guy.
He's in the under sevens, isn't he?
Alfie Devine.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So we're going after a club that's almost going into bankruptcy.
Yeah, another one. We've
basically going and stealing their assets.
They've got a very, very good youth set up, really good team, and we're pinching them all. So, I'm not going to say much about that.
Another Jack Clark on the cards.
Yes. So, and what's about, there's a lot of people been moaning about, and it was something certainly that I wanted to bring up on the pod earlier. but we never actually ever got around to it, I don't think. But what are your thoughts about,